turn out the light. Oh, I said turn out the light.
Okay, Xander, no problem.
Claude, it was a song. What is your problem?
I don't have a problem.
Well, put the light back on.
No, I cannot do that.
Claude, just start the show.
Loving has been good to me this time around. Things were never bound to change when it was found. Sugar never tasted sweeter on my lips. My heart is now intact and I can find no ribs. This is love, yeah, love. Never known true love before. Seen so many counterfeits that left me on the floor. This is love, yeah, love. All will come to those who wait. Time it cannot know the bounds, and eras don't dictate.
Confuse yourselves. Blinkety, 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 blink. Blink, blink, blink. Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Xandermonium, the talk show that gets you talking. I'm Xander Gibb, and on today's show, A London Calling with Jeff Kristian, who talks to Scarlet West, author of I'd Like to Thank Manchester Air Rifles, Xander's Soapbox, and more of your questions in Ask Xander. More to come in a mere moment. So you can interact with me via Twitter. You can tweet me at Xander Gibb, XanderGibb, capital X, capital G. Make sure to include that all-important @ symbol and keep up to date with what's going on with the show and a plethora of mind-blowing information. And now it's time for London Calling. On this week's London Calling, we sent Jeff Kristian to chat with author Scarlet West about her new book, I'd Like to Thank Manchester Air Rifles. We had her on the radio show recently, and she was a riot, and she bought her own Boddington. Oh yes, she did. Let's check it out.
So apparently people like me, and I'm Pete the Punk. London Calling this week, we talk to author Scarlet West. Can you hear that wind? Author of I'd Like to Thank Manchester Air Rifles. Alright Jeff, it's over to you.
Hello America, London Calling.
Week 25, filming on London Calling. Director has still not yet bought me a drink, but all this will change tonight. I'm honoured to be here today with one of Soho's true eccentrics, author and DJ, the fabulous Miss Scarlet West. How do you feel about me introducing you as a Soho eccentric?
No, I don't mind. I find it a compliment, really. Yeah, there's very few of us left.
It's true, yes.
I'm calling you one now.
Me as well. Well, I suppose I've been around a while as well, I suppose, haven't I?
Yeah.
I really, really want to talk about your new book. And it's called I'd Like to Thank the Manchester Air Rifles. The question, of course, the obvious question is, why would you like to thank them?
Well, Manchester Air Rifles, it was a shop that I used to pass on my way to Manchester. Because I live in Oldham. I lived in Oldham for most of my life until I was 21 when I moved out to London. And it was a place I used to pass on the bus, and it was called Manchester Air Guns. But I thought rifles sounded better, and I just thought it was a good name, so that's why.
I love the book, genuinely love the book. It's one of those books where you pick it up and you just can't put it down, and then you see another bit and you go, ooh. And you've written it in the form of a diary. You said to us that it was based on 10 years of drinking in Soho. What made you decide to write it in the form of a diary? Have you always kept a diary?
Yeah, I found it really convenient, with only drinking, that I could just go to an internet cafe and then just write about the night or the morning after. I'm not one for computers, I've only just recently got one, so I was just writing it in internet cafes and libraries, and it was an ideal place to keep it all, rather than notebooks that just get lost in my drunken stupor. So,
and obviously you're writing a lot about people and places that you know. How has the response been from those people and places so far to the book?
Well, I changed a lot of the names because, I slagged a few people off, but I think they might be able to know who they are. I saved my vitriol for certain people that I didn't like.
So you kind of said it in code,
yeah.
Which perhaps makes people cope with things like that better. In one chapter, you mentioned that you went into a bar that you knew quite well, and it was kind of full of posh people, and there weren't any Northerners or Cockneys in there at all, unlike you and me, of course, sitting together today. Soho, of course, has evolved and changed a lot over the last 10 years or so. What kind of changes have you seen?
Well, I think the changes on Denmark Street, because I'm in a band as well. Band's called Scarlet Realm, and the Enterprise Studios where we were rehearsing for 10 years, they've shut down. They're not there anymore. It's all the Crossrail. I remember in one part of the book, I was so annoyed about the Crossrail happening. I got in front of either a truck or something, very drunkenly. I'd been out all night. I think it was 9 a.m. in the morning, and it was somewhere near the Astoria. And I lay down on the road. I said, "You can't do this." And there was all these people going to work. I think I'd just come from that Coral Casino. So I did try and stop it, but you can't stop them, So.
No, I think I remember that traffic jam actually. Because Denmark Street in London, of course, was very known for the music industry, and music publishing and such. But what we've noticed, and we have spoken to somebody earlier in the series about how Soho seems to be becoming gentrified or sanitised or cleaned up. It's almost as though the character's being drained out a bit. Have you seen this with any of your haunts or places that you've been to regularly?
Yeah, I was really upset about the stock pot because the amount of time that saved me when I'd be out drinking, and I just need a proper home-cooked meal, liver and onions, or where else can you get that? And that's all. When that went, I was really annoyed. I took a teaspoon. As a souvenir.
Really, as a souvenir. I'm sure they'd be quite happy with that.
Yeah.
I understand what you mean about stock pot. It was one of those.
Well, he just wanted to retire, didn't he?
Yeah, it's so long, and they converted upstairs, didn't they, sort of really expensive apartments. But I think it's quite scary, you know, you hear about Stockport and then Madame Jojo's and of course the Curzon Theatre. It feels as though we're having the floorboard away from underneath us, don't you think? Do you feel that the same way?
Yeah. I hope the Arts Club is okay. I think the owners say it's okay, but that's my job, so I won't have a job if that goes.
And of course you do DJing there, don't you?
Yeah.
Tell us about that. When do you do it?
I do Thursday nights, that's my regular night, and I do 9 till 3.
What type of music do you play there?
50s rock and roll, 60s, 70s and 80s.
Yeah.
A lot of Cure and Bowie and the Smiths.
Very Soho.
Soft Cell, you know.
Now, of course, having read the book and enjoyed it so much, I'm kind of gagging for the next one now. So you wrote it in diary form. Are you still writing this diary?
Yeah, I always write a diary.
That's it for this week. Back to you in the studio, Xander.
That was London Calling with Jeff Kristian and Scarlet West. Be sure to check out her book. I'd like to thank Manchester Air Rifles, and be sure to check her out on social media. London Calling is produced in association with Mr. Binks Media. And now it's time for Xander's Soapbox. So people often ask me about what gets me through and how come I always seem like a bit of a chirpy chappy. And the answer surprises many. Now, whilst in all honesty, I don't think anyone is all sunshine all of the time, I guess I do have, shall we say, a secret. Well, it's not actually a secret at all, and I'm going to share it with you today. Now, my faith is the thing that carries me through, and things shifted for me a few years ago, but actually for the better. Now, I've always believed in God and Jesus and tried hard to uphold a standard, but something always came along to either knock me off kilter or was a catalyst for a little bit of a dark period. Now, I always thought that it was a prescription for my life to have more downs than ups, but I was gladly proven wrong. Now, fear is something that affects everyone, and some more, quite clearly more than others. Now, whether you are afraid of spiders or dying or flying, public places, or what might happen in the future. Now, these things are all a trust issue in one thing or another. Now, let me give you an example. One place I used to live was on the first floor and in the city, often in the summer with the window open. Just as I was falling asleep, I would get that scary thought that comes from nowhere. In my stupor, I thought, what would I do if someone came in through the window? Or what if someone put a snake through the window? Now, that's irrational, I know, but most fear actually is irrational, but can be broken down very quickly by talking one's self off that ledge. Now, I realized that as it had never actually happened before, the law of averages was that none of those things would actually happen to me. And sometimes one's mind can play tricks at particularly vulnerable points in our lives. Now, one day I was reading a celebrity blog and I read something that would change my life forever. And the statement was within reference to a living in faith and not fear, but not necessarily in a spiritual sense. Now, when I sat and thought about it, I actually translated it into a spiritual sense, which really began to challenge me. Now, I got to thinking that if I really trusted God for His promises to me in His Word, that I totally needed to just let go and just let God And if I'm honest, that really scared me. But my mind was blown to even realize something even more amazing. If I could not fully trust God in all things, I did not actually trust His will for my life. And whilst I realized my assumption was totally correct, how would I put this into practice? It was not going to really happen overnight. So I wasn't filthy rich, and I didn't have the best job in the world back then, and I didn't have that Escalade that I'd always wanted parked in my driveway. Now, in reality, God never promised any of those things, but what He did say was that He would supply all of my needs according to His riches in glory. Now, I had everything I had always needed. I never, ever, ever went without. So in my wisdom, I asked God for signs that everything would be okay. And funnily enough, signs would not be the answer. And now it was really faith I needed to show in God in order to actually truly be free. And I decided that I had to just trust God in every aspect of my life. And even though it took a long time to fully trust, once I got to that point, everything in my life changed. Now, whilst I don't have the Escalade, I have a fabulous job, and my life is worlds apart from where it used to be. And you see, God really does reward trust, and He is faithful. And God sees the deep recesses of our hearts and knows us through and through. Now, it's been interesting to actually see God's hand upon my life and the knock-on effect of trust. You know, I'm only human. You know, if you listen to Claude, you really wouldn't believe that. And I do slip when I'm tired and I get angry, etc., etc., but I'm quickly able to remind myself of the covenant that I have made with God, to live in faith and not fear. Now, the true benefit of this is that I can honestly say I do not have any fear any longer because I'm living in faith, and that allows me the luxury of knowing that God's hand is indeed upon my life and can be upon yours too. Now, God truly is my refuge, and He loves me exactly where I am and walks with me on this journey. What about you? That was Xander's Soapbox. If you'd like to get on your soapbox, send us your videos at xandergibb.com/contact.html. Please make sure they are MPEGs of no more than 5 minutes and no profanity, okay? And now it's time for Ask Xander. Really, thanks for all of your questions. Far too many to answer, but you can check the Ask Xander page on the website to see if you get an answer there. If you don't hear an answer to your question here. Okay, so Jenny from Danbury asks, Xander, how many Easter eggs did you get? None, Jenny. I think I'm a little too old for Easter eggs, or someone's trying to tell me that I really don't need them, but do feel free to send chocolate to the studio. So Jim from North Salem asks if I am still on my diet, which is a very funny question. Thanks for asking, Jim. No, I never was, but I'm still eating healthily and trying to maintain a healthy regime. So Steve from Southbury wants to know if I have chosen someone to support in the general election. No, Steve, sadly not. Not taken so much with anyone right now, but watch this space. This has really been the most difficult general election to actually pick a candidate in. But watch this space. Petra from New Fairfield wants to know if Claude likes his job and does he get job satisfaction? Well, Claude, do you like your job? Do you get job satisfaction? He's actually going, no, no. Well, you can feel free to resign and we'll let the intern take over from you. He's stomping off now in his usual French hissy fit, so read whatever you want to into that, Petra. Thanks for your question. Terry from Bethel, not sure if Terry is a man or a woman, and I don't know if he's the Terry that makes chocolate oranges, but if you are, make sure you send me some. But Terry wants to know who is my favorite author. Just one again. Everybody asks these questions and I'm only allowed one answer. I like the classics, poetry, commentary, comedy even. I know, Claude, the question was for an author. Okay, A.A. Milne. Next question. All right, this is the last question and it's from Sarah from Greenwich, Connecticut, who wants to know if I'm still watching The Walking Dead. No, Sarah, this series has been totally boring, and it's sad because I was completely hooked up until midway through the last series. We really do need fresh blood in the writing pool and some more newer TV projects out there. Thanks, Sarah, and thanks to everyone for writing in. That's Ask Xander for another week. And as usual, you can send us your questions and comments to me at xandergibb.com/contact. That's xandergibb.com/contact. Well, that is it for another week. Don't forget to join my mailing list at xandergibb.com and follow us on social media. Thanks to the fabulous Jeff Kristian and co. for London Calling. Thanks to Scarlet West, author of I'd Like to Thank Manchester Air Rifles. Make sure you check that book out. Thanks to Claude and everyone that has made today's show possible. And as always, thanks to you for watching. Xandermonium signing off, and I love you all. Bye-bye.
I believe in miracles. Where are you from? You a sexy ting, you a taxi ting, you is a taxi ting.